gorgeous. And what's really nice to know is all of his album art, the backgrounds are actual places in Boston you can go to. The Green Line, the North Station, all of that. So I would highly check it out. Pick up an album, you get a poster. I like that idea.
That's wonderful. All right. So with him, there's a couple other artists we know of too that are kind of getting it out there, starting up their own music arrangements and things.
And I would like to have like a quote from Sesmix when I interviewed him. I asked him, what do you feel, what do you want to say to people interested in getting into doing Toho music? And like, what do you feel like they should know? He said, just do it. I mean, there's literally nothing to it. I mean, look at him. He works at a movie theater. He's younger than me, and he's making money at a movie theater, okay? And he's making this music, and it is gorgeous. He just recently released a non-Toho album, too.
Obviously, he really likes Sesmix. So there's new artists making new music every year. They're from everywhere, not just from here or Japan. They're Norway, Germany. That's
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. Just a lot of places. And we look forward to what they all have to bring to the table, to the Toho music scene, as it were. And that's about it for our segment. So from DMJ654 and Lunar Spotlight here, thanks for listening.
It's the stream. Thank you very much.
All right, so after we've talked about music, I probably should have pointed out that I would think the three major things that Toho fans do for the series is they create a lot of music, they create a lot of visual art, and they create a lot of fan games, which we'll get into a little bit later. But now that we've covered the music a bit, I want to switch it over to the visual arts. I'd like to ask Ruben and Hina to come to the stage and describe your experiences with the Tumblr Ask Blog community, which I have seen some amazing things come out of the Tumblr Ask blogs for Toho, as well as the Western Dojin Circle that she's a part of.
Yeah, I got notes.
Get prepared.
Hello? Okay, source. Okay. Alright, so I think two things should be addressed first. Firstly, the AWA people, it's a great time working with you guys. All you great people, alright? You did awesome. Now the even more important thing is I don't have any people face-to-face, aside from Hina, who I see maybe every once in a while, to talk Toho with, so if I make any mispronunciations at all, even normal words, I just don't talk very much.
Well, part of the fun of Toho is mispronouncing all the names anyway, so.
Alright, so, I guess I should start with who I am. Well, there's a couple names I go by. Ruben's the big one. Tumblr user Nokochi, that's the Japanese word for Dunsparce for the curious. And if you browse the Anime Boston forums, I'm Bowser-chan. I do a lot of art, and not just for Toho, I do a lot of different projects. Like, it's really hard to count on my fingers what I do, because I just like, if I see something, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Like, there was a couple months back, they had a Earthbound, like, zine thing going on for Fangamer, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing that. That's how I do this. I just impulse, and I go and do it. And that's kind of how the Askblog thing came to me too. I guess the thing I should ask too is, who here like actually has an Askblog or has ever run an Askblog before? Alright, so you got a couple people. I myself, I run Ask Ugasa. That's who I'm being right now. I ran it for 2 years before I put it on indefinite hiatus. And for the people who don't know the whole Askblog thing, it's something that's usually done on Tumblr. I've seen some people who've done it on DeviantArt before, although I'm not really sure how that one works. And the process is rather simple. You create a blog, and you open your Ask blog, and you're like, hey, ask me some questions. And some person might say something like, hey, Kugasa, well, you're good with surprising and stuff. Have you ever surprised, let's say, Satori? And for myself, I would go and I would answer with a blurb and a little picture of Kugasa comedically failing at scaring Satori, for example. That's kind of the gist of how the S-blogs work. The one thing I think a lot of people get intimidated by when creating an S-blog is the whole art thing. A lot of people think to do an S-blog, you need to answer with art. That is not the case at all. I've seen several blogs that do answers with just text. There was an Ask Aaron blog who did just text, and they did a really good job. I think they're actually still up today. And so don't be intimidated about the art then. It's all about answering questions and having fun with it. That's like the big thing. Like don't do it for most important thing, do not do something for the followers. I swear to God, if you do something for the followers, don't do it. Okay? Because you're not gonna, I mean, if you're into that whole like popularity thing, that's fine, but you're gonna get bored of it very easily. And when I started Ask Kugasa, actually, there was mainly Homestuck blogs. It was, everything was Ask Gamzee, Ask, like, you know, like Cross President, all this like really crazy obscure things, and I was like, you know, there's no Touhous, I'm gonna do Kugasa. You know why? Because I just feel like it, and that's what happened. And slowly but surely, their small little community ended up happening where there was all these different little Touhous blogs, and I was like, oh, this is so great. And what started as something that was, you know, like an Ask blog where the followers come on and ask you the questions, it eventually became a whole community where we had things like, we had little streams where someone will go and draw and stuff. We've had a time where actually we had, I forget what the Ask blog was, but they would go and they would play piano arrangements while we talked and stuff, and it was really cool. And the thing is, you didn't have to be an Ask blog to go to the streams. Like that was, you just go because you liked Touhou and wanted to learn more. You know, it wasn't, you didn't need some special pass to go in, and I really liked that a lot. Because I met a lot of people through it. A ton of people through it. I mean, if I never did Ask Kugasa, and if Hina never did the Ask Hina blog, we probably wouldn't be together. We probably would never even met. Oh, you're hiding your face. You're so cute. And I think that's one of the really great things about Touhou in general. Not just with the Ask blogs, but Touhou in general. If I never got introduced to Touhou by Sparrow, which by the way, I know Sparrow, you are deaf. You can't hear this, but I'm thanking you very much for introducing me to Kasume and Touhou 11 and me dying at the first stage and sobbing quietly because I don't even know why I tried that game first, but there's just so many things that came out of this series and I'm really thankful for it. Now, going back to the fact that I talked with a lot of different Ask blogs, the fact that I had so many different people who I became friends with and a lot of different artists, it eventually got to the point where different connections and different projects ended up happening. And the big one is actually a Dojin comic circle that we created. And it is called Distant Union. It was something that really, it was just impulse. It really was just impulse. One day I was talking with Leo. If you don't know who Leo is probably one of the most well-known Ask blogs. Also probably one of the few Brazilian Touhou fan artists I've known. He's done Ask... what?
Keep going.
Oh, okay. he does Ask Uganje, which is very good, and it's worth a read if you want. If you want to go and see what the Icebox wrote, that's a very good one because it's nice, complete, and he even has a little list of all the different little events. One day, me and Leo, we were just talking, you know, just kind of throwing things, talking, and all of a sudden he's like, you know, I want to make comics, and I'm like, yeah, this is a good idea. And at the time, we're just, you know, throwing the idea, and then it happened. It just happened. We gathered a bunch of people who seemed interested about the idea. We had a couple people who dropped out because they didn't want to end up doing it in the end. But we got a small group of dedicated artists to actually create published Toho Dojin comics. And they're all from different places. There's myself, who I'm from New Hampshire, Leo, who's all the way down in Brazil, Jade, who happens to be all the way in Canada, Sigmund, who's also in the US, and there's also DL, however, he never told us where he was from, so I guess it's unknown. Oh god. Yes, there you go. Gensoko, that is where DL hails from.